But real quickly, man, I'm a big leaguer. Everything's going well, and then boom, literally get smacked in the face. My fourth start in the big leagues. I get hit in the face.
Most people don't recover from that, right?
No, it can be, and I didn't for a long time, man. I ended up, it's a crazy thing, I ended up not breaking any bones. I fractured my sinus cavity, no concussions, no loose teeth. I'm back on a mound 2 weeks later in Philly. Carlos Gonzalez hit a ball 115 miles an hour. I think the camera's right here. Hit me right here in the cheek. Like I said, warning if you haven't seen it, it's pretty gnarly. 2 weeks after I got hit in the face, I wore another comebacker. I got hit in the back, and I was like, dude, I'm going to quit. I'm a freaking ball magnet right now.
Welcome to Flying High with Cam.
Yayo.
A podcast where I combine two things I love.
This is insane.
Interviewing the most successful people I know.
You're the baddest guy in town.
While flying helicopters.
Engine failure.
Fly with me. I want to hear your stories, learn from your experiences, and build a community. This is Flying High with Cam.
Welcome to Flying High with Cam, where I get to do what I love, fly helicopters and interview some of the most successful people I know. Today is not going to disappoint. I got the swaggiest baseball player in the league right here, Archie Bradley. Let's go. I put on his jersey that he signed for me like 5 years ago, man. I'm so excited. We're going to talk about, obviously, how you made it to the major leagues, what it's like to be a pitcher, but not just a pitcher, a relief pitcher, right? Coming in at the very end when everything's on the line. And then just the struggles that it takes to be a player, you know, in and out of the game. So thanks for coming up, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I've been on a lot of podcasts. This is definitely the most unique setting I've ever done a podcast.
We're going to have fun, man. We're flying over the Salt River right now. We're going to go up around the lakes. We'll get low. We'll have some fun, man. But I want to talk about kind of your journey as a player, man. Like, at least for myself, it's very intriguing, like, how you even get to the league. And especially baseball, because I have a couple friends that have been in it for literally 10 years. Jay Bell's son. I don't know if you know him.
Very well.
And it's like, dude, he's just grinding. And he still hasn't made it into the major leagues, which is just difficult. So, I mean, how'd you make it all the way, man?
Well, obviously we got to go back to the high school days. Shout out to my two high schools. A lot of people don't know I went to two high schools. Muskogee is my first one, and then Broken Arrow. Both have unique settings.
What state is that?
In Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, okay.
They're both about 45 minutes apart from each other.
And why two? Just because you went into the baseball?
My mom was in education, and the first school I went to got a little rough, and she took a job at Broken Arrow. But now that I'm older, I'm able to look back at my situation. Muskogee, my first high school, Muskogee is who made Archie Bradley. Broken Arrow polished Archie Bradley.
Okay. But you weren't transferring to go to the program.
No, I wasn't transferring to that. Man. My mom was in education. But yeah, I was like everyone else. I was playing the travel ball circuit growing up, bouncing around team to team, literally playing all over the country, from Florida to California all the way to Puerto Rico.
And this was after high school?
This is during high school.
Oh, this is during high school.
This is during high school, the travel ball circuit that anyone who has a son or daughter that plays competitive baseball or softball knows the summer schedule.
Okay.
So you kind of get in that route. I got picked by a team in Dallas, Texas. I would spend my sophomore, junior, and senior summers living in Dallas, Texas with the host family, playing baseball for DBAT, which stands for Dallas Baseball Academy of Texas.
Okay.
And that's really where things started to change for me. I went down to Dallas my sophomore year, and I ended that sophomore summer, not to brag, but with offers from every baseball school in the country.
So like when you say like that's when it all changed, like what changed? You got a different pitching coach, your mindset and commitment got in there?
Just being seen. Oklahoma, it is a good baseball state, but you got to get out and travel. You got to play in Texas. You got to play in Florida. You got to go to these national tournaments where schools and scouts that's where they're spending their time. And the best way, you know, if you're a really good player, people will come to your high school, which I'll get into that my senior year, which that's what really was crazy. But these travel tournaments, man, that's where you get seen. And so I was in that, and a lot of people don't know, it's my favorite thing to talk about, but I was also a big-time high school quarterback.
Okay.
So that's also what changed. I transferred schools. My new school was a lot better at football. My baseball name started to build as my football name started to build.
You're just throwing bombs down the field.
Yeah, just honestly throwing as hard as I can, throwing touchdowns, and then man,
Was your dad an athlete? Like,
yes, not at the
not a professional level.
No, not the professional level. My mom played Division II basketball.
Okay.
She was a hooper. My sister played Division I softball. And my dad played. I think he played football for a little bit. This is incredible right now. Like I wish you guys could see. We're about 5 feet off the water, going over this lake right now. This boat probably thinks we're crazy. But continuing, man, I go into my senior year at Broken Arrow, and times have changed now with like having an agent, like what was legal and not back then. Back then, you weren't legally allowed to have an agent. You could have a advisor, as they called it.
Okay.
So going into my senior year, my advisor sat down with my family and I, and he said, look, with the way Archie's throwing the baseball, we think he has a chance to be drafted in the top 10 rounds.
What were you throwing at this time?
Man, going into my senior year, I was throwing 95 to 100. To give you a little progression, I always threw hard. My freshman year, I was 88, 91, 92. Sophomore year, 89, 93. And then my senior year, man, just with growing up, obviously having some coaches put me in the right weight programs and playing for the right teams. Man, my senior year, I just started throwing as hard as you could imagine. I mean, I was throwing the ball 100 miles an hour.
Obviously, you have to, work your muscle up and progress that way. But how much of that is like you're just born with the mechanics to like throw 80 miles an hour, then you take it from 80 to 95?
Now that I'm older, and we'll get into it, and I'm struggling to throw hard again right now, I think it's kind of you just have it or you don't.
Really?
Like I said, I think I look back at my journey. I didn't have any crazy specific pitching coaches or hitting coaches like you see some of these younger kids now.
Yeah.
I was just blessed to be around some good people who put us in the right spot. And, so starting my senior year, like I said, we had that meeting with my advisor. I started throwing the ball, and I'm not kidding, probably after 2 weeks of my senior season, my agent sat us back down, and he said, hey, things have changed. With the way you're throwing the baseball, you're going to be a first-round pick.
What goes to your, like, what's your confidence level at this point, dude? You're a senior, and you're saying it's not your agent. What is he again?
Advisor.
Advisor's telling you, like, you're going number one, bro.
I mean, honestly, that's the way the talk started to take. Every outing, I was throwing 95 to 100. You would come to a game and watch me play, and there would be, I'm not exaggerating, 50, 60 major league scouts at the game.
Yeah.
We used to call it the wave. Right before I'd throw every pitch, all the scouts would throw up their radar guns, and you'd just see this wave of radar guns grow up.
The wave.
And so, yeah, man, just my senior year was incredible. I mean, I could go through the numbers, but it is about as perfect of a senior year as you could ask for. We ended up winning the state championship. And then a couple days later, the MLB draft happens, and pretty cool, man. There's another kid named Dylan Bundy who just retired, and him and I literally played baseball together since we were 6 years old. That year in the draft, I got to watch Dylan go 4th overall, and then my name was picked 3 selections later at number 7.
That's so sick, man. Where were you at?
So it was cool. Dylan and I had a draft party together in Tulsa. We rented out the ballroom of a hotel. All of our friends and families, summer ball coaches, high school coaches, anyone that had an impact of us getting to that situation was at that party.
Dang.
And it's pretty cool, man. 2 small-town, homegrown Oklahoma kids go 4th and 7th in the Major League Draft.
Is your dad big part of your life? You've only kind of talked about your mom.
My dad is. My mom
your mom and dad are there. Like, what's that like, dude?
And probably the most special thing. I mean, everyone plays sports for fun. Maybe now in today's world, parents have a little bit more of a expectation for their kids, but back then, man, we were just playing baseball for fun. I talk about my mom a lot because my dad worked. My dad was the working force. My mom did work, but my mom was the chauffeur. She drove me all around these tournaments. She drove me everywhere. So I can only imagine now that I'm getting older and my wife and I are talking about starting our own family.
Right.
To watch your son go through a moment like this and get picked and
I can't imagine.
To go back, man, it wasn't like it was now. Like I knew getting drafted was a thing, but it wasn't like now where kids, I'm not going to say expect, but it's in their mind like, oh, I'm going to get drafted. Like, dude, I was happy to commit to Oklahoma on a full scholarship. Like that was a blessing in itself. I remember real quick before I go down the draft story, I committed my scholarship to play football football and baseball at Oklahoma.
Okay, I didn't know that.
From a financial burden, man, what a blessing for my parents. You know, they realizing that they aren't going to have to pay $1 for their son to go to school. So that's when I started to really realize how much bigger this was.
Yeah.
And then real quickly after getting drafted, I got drafted 7th overall. Not trying to brag, but just giving you information. The next call was the Diamondbacks asking me if I would accept slot money at $3.2 million.
What's slot money? What is that?
That's so each slot in the first round, they assign a value, a number, a dollar number to what that pick should get.
Okay.
You're allowed to negotiate off of that number, but the slot for me that year was $3.2 million. So not only was this crazy dream realized, but
So you go from like, what
I
you got in the
literally go
bank
from-
like $5,000 or like $1,000.
not even that. I'm on an allowance with a Bank First Oklahoma card,
And
and all
they
of a
just dropped
sudden,
3.2 in your account.
dude, I got a metal Amex with $3 million, $5 million
Oh
on
my
it.
gosh.
So
That's dangerous, man.
I get drafted.
How old are
signed
you at this point?
18 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So,
And
funny
the population in Oklahoma where you're at is what?
shit. Tulsa's got to be 150,000 people.
Oh my gosh. And you got an Amex with 3.2 million on it.
So I signed. We ended up settling. So I got drafted. We took that whole summer to negotiate.
Okay.
And at the end of the summer, we finally agreed to terms with the Diamondbacks for $5 million. So I went from 18 years old asking my dad for gas money to now all of a sudden I am a multi-millionaire at 18 years old. Like, what
on.
in the hell just happened?
When you say we negotiated, is this your advisor? Now he's your agent?
Yeah, so my advisor
and
now
you stuck
became,
with the same guy?
Yep, I've been with the same
Okay.
guy from day one. Shout out to my guy, Jay Franklin.
Is
He
that
the man.
is that unusual to stick with your
yes
guy?
and no. Yes and no. What you see a lot happen is a lot of guys like me start with the smaller agency, like I've had my whole career, and end up kind of moving up.
Yeah.
And my guy has been the man. A lot of people have talked about, you know, don't mix business and friends or stuff like that, but I think it's the opposite. My agent has always talked to me. He said, look, I'm going after every dollar for you like it's for my own son.
I love it. How did you meet him?
He's just an Oklahoma guy.
He just saw you, came to your house
when
one
you're
day?
when you're in the agency business, you kind of know, and he's an Oklahoma guy, so he's always looking for Oklahoma talent.
Okay.
And then, like I said, me and my boy Dylan, you know, you have two kids throwing 98 in your backyard.
That reminds me when we did that photo shoot when you were for Black Hat, you came out and took some pictures for us. And we were like, dude, throw a 98-mile ball in front of our face. I want to know what it feels like. You're like, no, because if I lose control, I don't want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to be responsible.
I was like, all right, man, I appreciate that. Okay, so you're 18 years old. $5 million just got deposited into your bank account. What's next?
So this is funny. So my best friend, one of my best friends, took a scholarship to Arizona State to play baseball. So I get out here. I bought a Range Rover Sport on white 24s.
Let's go.
And no one could have told me anything at the time. I was the man.
Yep.
So I pick up my buddy from ASU and I said, hey, I just got my bonus. We're going to the mall.
We're going to the mall.
So I go to Fashion Square. And like any 18-year-old time, hit Buckle. Buckle was the spot to be.
That's the last place I thought you would say.
I needed some Rock Revival, some Ed Hardy Affliction shirts.
Oh, my.
And then we
Wait,
went
what year is this?
This is 2011.
Okay.
So buying me some stuff, buying my boy some stuff, trying to ball out a little bit. I go to Oakley, and
you
Oakley
spend
has
as much as you can.
Yeah,
you maybe get it to like $2,000.
Exactly. So I think at this point I've spent like $1,200. So go to Oakley. Oakley's got these two watches, and I said, give me both of them. I'm gonna buy one for me, one for my boy. I think they're like $500 each, so it's gonna be $1,000. I'm like shaking, handing the lady the card. I've never spent $1,000.
I hope this goes through,
dude. So it doesn't. That's the best part
Oh,
about
it doesn't?
So the lady goes, "Sorry, sir, your card's been declined." And I'm 18. I'm not trying to sound rude. I'm like, ma'am, that's impossible.
That just doesn't
like in my head, I'm like, there's millions of dollars on this card.
Yeah.
There's no way. So right then, my financial guy calls me. He's like, hey, your Amex was just flagged. Have you already spent $3,000 at Fashion Square
Yeah.
Mall? I was like, yeah.
Wait, how many hours is this after you got
I'm
the
not
deposit?
kidding, like an hour after I've had my money. So an hour within of having my money, I already get a fraudulent, spent too much money. And so that was a fun introduction to me getting my bonus. And
so what'd you do? You walked out the mall and your boys like making fun of you?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a little embarrassing moment, but got that resolved. I think we went back 2 days later. I got us the watches.
Like, give me 3 now.
Yeah, give me 3 now. And so yeah, I mean, real quickly, dude. You know, I signed. I signed, and then it was the next day. They flew me out. I did physicals, and boom, you're in the baseball world. I'm in a hotel. I'm going to the field every day, and my baseball journey in the professional world has begun.
That's so crazy, man. So talk to me about kind of the struggles while you're a professional athlete, let alone a closer, to come in when the game's on the line. Family life, work life, everything. Like, what's that like mentally? And to have to perform now. They just paid you $5 million. It's like, dude, you got to perform. What was the contract? Was it guaranteed?
It's all guaranteed. You got $5 million up front. And then just a quick little synopsis through the minors. I played at every minor league stop. A lot of people, I think, understand the minor leagues, but most teams have 5 minor league teams, and I made a stop at every one of them. And for those who are interested, it was
before you were drafted?
Well, after I was drafted. So I went to 2011. I went to rookie ball in Missoula, Montana.
Okay.
2012, I spent the whole season in South Bend, Indiana, which was low A. 2013, I started the year in Visalia, California in high A, and got moved up after a month and a half to Mobile, Alabama, which is double A.
Okay.
And then 2014, I spent the entire season in AAA, which is in Reno, Nevada. And then 2015, I made the big league team out of spring training.
So that's what's crazy that I don't understand about baseball. Like, if you get drafted for the NBA, like, you're on the team. So what is that? How's that different with Major League?
I mean, you have to earn it. You have to go. You've already, in a way, proved yourself, but like, baseball is one of the
4 years. You're not on the main team.
Yeah, I was on the minor league team, and like that's weird to explain to people because everyone's like, "Hey, why aren't you playing on TV? I thought you got drafted." And it's like, there's a system that you have to prove yourself in the system to get called up. Where, like you said, exactly the NBA, NFL, man, you're drafted, you're on the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole grind. We could do a whole podcast on the grind of the minor leagues. I mean,
well, that's what I was talking about. It's my wife's best friend, her husband, so J Bell's son.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't believe the grind that they go through. 50, 60 grand a year, like traveling and away from their family in the motels. You know the game. Like,
small town America, man.
It's crazy, man.
And so, the whole minor league grind in itself, like I said, we could do a million podcasts on that, but go through the minor league grind. 2015 spring training, I pitched my ass off. Right at the end of spring, manager calls me in, and he goes, "Congrats, you made the opening day team. You're going to be starting against the Dodgers. That's your first start." He's like, "Take it in. Take time, call your parents." Dang. And right then, dude, in my manager's office, 22 years old, started bawling my eyes out. This minor league grind, man, even as a first rounder with money, it seems like this uphill battle to get to the big leagues. And then, boom, I get the call. I make the team.
So from high school to when you made the team, 5 years.
Yeah, so it's drafted at 18. Made my big league debut at 22 years old.
Okay.
Which was cool, man. Right after that meeting, I got to step outside and call my parents, and that's a memory I'll never forget. Cried on the phone with both my mom and my dad. Got everything lined up, and then boom, the stage is set. Man, it's crazy. I want to say it's April 15th or April 11th. I should know my debut.
Okay.
But Clayton Kershaw and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Saturday night in Arizona is like storybook, man, storybook. Every kid dreams about their debut. Are you going to get a hit? Are you going to get outs? Are you going to get knocked out of the first inning? And I'm getting to make my debut at home Saturday night at Chase Field in the black unis, which are my favorite unis. So story, I mean, it's...
You're not the closer.
I'm a starter now. I'm a starter to start my career.
Okay.
Facing Clayton Kershaw, 3-time Cy Young winner, arguably best left-handed pitcher in baseball.
And that's going through your head like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, crap.
It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, Hollywood.
Right.
Jimmy Rollins is the first batter. And, yeah, my debut, it was incredible, man. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. I got a hit my first pitch in the big leagues. I got to tell that story. So I go up. Most pitchers, they have to take till they get a strike. Yeah. So they can't swing the bat until a strike is thrown to them.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I go up to the plate with 2 outs. My manager gave me what we call the green light, which is you're able to swing at the first pitch if you want to.
Hey.
So I get up there, first pitch off Kershaw, boom, base hit.
Did they give that to you because like they saw you in batting practice?
I wish I could say that. It was just the situation. First at bat, they wanted me to feel comfortable.
First ball, you freaking rip it.
So first ball, I rip it. I get a base hit, can't believe it. 2 pitches later, I get picked off first base. Like, I have to be the only guy in Major League history to get a hit and then get picked off 2 pitches later.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, start off my big league career. I get a win against Kershaw and the Dodgers. Next week, we go to San Fran. I pitch against Bumgarner and the Giants. I get a win my 3rd start against the Rangers. And then 4th start, we talked about facing adversity in your career.
Yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen it, I will issue a warning. It's pretty graphic, but my 4th start in the big leagues, I got hit in the face with a comebacker. Carlos Gonzalez hit a ball 115 miles an hour. I think the camera's right here. Hit me right here in the cheek. Like I said, warning if you haven't seen it. It's pretty gnarly. But real quickly, man, I'm a big leaguer. Everything's going well, and then boom. Literally get smacked in the face. My 4th start in the big leagues. I get hit in the face.
Most people don't recover from that, right?
No, it can be, and I didn't for a long time, man. I ended up, it's a crazy thing. I ended up not breaking any bones. I fractured my sinus cavity. No concussions, no loose teeth. I'm back on a mound 2 weeks later in Philly. And that was tough, man. I struggled. I pitched really bad for a long time after that.
What's a long time?
For the rest of that year.
Okay.
So the rest of that year was a grind, man. I made probably 5 or 6 more big league starts.
Just because mentally you're just like waiting for that ball to come back, so you're throwing hesitantly, you're not throwing strikes.
Exactly that. 2 weeks after I got hit in the face, I wore another comebacker. I got hit in the back, and I was like, dude, I'm going to quit. I'm a freaking ball magnet right now.
Oh, my gosh.
But once I was able to honestly just talk about it, I was so scared and in my head about getting hit and thought I had to be so tough and this like macho man mentality. I'm a big leaguer.
Yeah.
When in reality, once I started being more vulnerable and opening up and talking about it, mentally I was able to get over the hump of being scared and then finally get back to, playing baseball at a high level. And it kind of, now when I talk about it, it's like it happened a second life ago. I don't even remember it, to be honest.
Is that, when you say like be vulnerable, is that with like a team coach? Is that with like someone that you seek out for yourself, or have you ever had like a life coach?
I would say all the above. Most teams do a really good job with providing a mental strength coach or a life coach. But yeah, once I was able to honestly just speak honestly, not tell people like I am afraid. I'm scared to get hit. I'm afraid of a comeback or these different things. You saw a shift. I was able to mentally start to handle things better. And then everything just came together, and like I said, eventually I got over it and was able to move on.
Dang, man. How much is that intentional from the people at bat, like getting it back at you?
Oh, none. Carlos reached out. He apologized. Unfortunately, it's just part of the game. There's risk reward to everything, and so that was an early bump in my career. And then on top of that, you talk about adversity. I ended up getting sent down that year. I came back.
Your first year?
Yeah, my first year after getting hit and going through all that. I get back to the big leagues, and I just wasn't pitching well. And the team had to make a decision, and they sent me back down to AAA. So here I am, this young superstar in the big leagues. Bam, get hit, pitch bad, and like boom, now I'm back in the minors. My first year. Like what the heck just happened? I was just on top of the world. Now I'm injured. Now I'm healthy, and now I'm right back where I started, trying to get back up to the big leagues.
So how do you do that, man? Because I feel like golf and baseball are the two of the most mental, tough sports that you can play, because you have so much time in between to just like get in your head. But especially if you go from starting back down, like how do you get back up again?
That's where it's something I've learned. It's your support system. Okay. Your parents. Obviously, I've got a great wife behind me now. I didn't have that at the time. But man, for any athlete, I think more importantly, like why guys succeed, it's the behind the scenes. Your camp, your agent, your wife, your trainer, your friends. Like I said, man, it's a very lonely place mentally, going through these grinds, going through these struggles, and people confuse the fact that you're making money, that you're happy, or that you're successful. Where I've learned, man, money is what you make it. Your happiness and your all that, they really do come first, and money is just kind of an object. It's something that we're fortunate to make money because we play baseball. But yeah, man, you go back to the minors. You gotta. I've talked about a lot. You have to be a good self-evaluator. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and speak to yourself honestly about who you are. You know, where you need to improve, what you need to do to get better.
Yeah.
And then you come up with a plan and you do it. So I get sent down that year, 2016. I start the year in AAA again, back in the minors. But I understood the system now. My head was down. I was focused.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting called back up and somewhere in the middle of 16, and I really haven't looked back then. I was a starting pitcher in 16 and 15, and then everything came to be in 17.
Yeah.
17 is when I grew the beard. I made the transition from a starter to the bullpen, and that's when I really came into my own. Archie Bradley kind of became a name, and as people like to say, the beard was born.
The beard was born.
Beard was born 2017.
I freaking love the hype video that they made for you at the Diamondback Stadium. You know, it's ninth inning, and then they call Archie Bradley to come up, bro, and you're just like screaming with the huge old beard. Like, what's that feeling like, man?
It's cool. It's more than cool. It's like I said, it was a shift, man. I had already bought into being a Diamondback, what it meant to live in Arizona, be in the Valley, and now all of a sudden, like you said, man, I'm the closer. I'm the eighth inning guy. I'm holding the ball in the most important spot of a game, and then not only that, I have a badass intro video. Flames going up all around the stadium, public service announcement by Jay-Z bumping through the speakers, and literally any kid's dream in the world, you're running out to close out a Major League Baseball game.
That's so sick, man. I ran into you at the Waste Management Open last month, and you're like, I'm training really hard right now to get my speed back up. What does that look like? What are you doing?
So a lot. Again, so I was fortunate enough to, outside getting hit in the face, from that moment forward, the next 6 seasons, I never went on the injury list.
Dang.
I stayed healthy for 6 straight seasons. Everything was going well. And then, boom, man, I tore a hamstring. I tore a quad. I tore my left oblique twice.
Did you stop doing something particular, or do you think just age, or what was it?
I think just age, and, you know, sometimes just when you throw that hard, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And then really the cherry on top of all my injuries, 2022 with the Angels, I broke my right elbow, my throwing elbow. For those of you that don't know.
While you're throwing.
I wish it was while I was throwing.
What happened, man? You're hunting?
We got in a fight against the Mariners.
Oh, gosh.
And when the fight first started, I was so excited to get in this freaking fight. I fell going over the rail to get in the fight. You can look it up. There's a couple of media sources.
That on here, man.
So I eat shit coming out of the dugout. Get back up, go run in the fight. Didn't think anything of it. Fight ends. Boom. My hand, if you guys can see, my hand's shaking. I ended up going up, getting an x-ray, boom, they tell me I broke my elbow. And I'm just like, what?
Here's some wild horses for you, Reagan.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, all of a sudden, you know, I've been this consistent, healthy pitcher, and boom, I've had these 2 years of injuries.
Dang.
My velo starts to go down. And
wait, what's that?
Velo velocity, how hard you throw. Okay. So, you know, my whole big league career, I've thrown the ball 95, 98, hit 100 a couple times. And then, boom, 22 and 23, I'm throwing 92, 93.
And that just doesn't cut it.
That just doesn't cut it. Not in today's game.
10 miles an hour, or like 7 miles an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't. So last year, I signed a deal with the Marlins. I went back to AAA. So it had been 8 years since I'd been back in the minor leagues. And yeah, man, it was a complete grind. It still is a grind. I spent the whole year last year in AAA. I did go up to the big leagues. I was in the big leagues for 2 months, but I was throwing slow. Yeah. I was throwing 92, 93. I couldn't throw hard again. And so talking with my wife, I made a decision going into this season that getting a job wasn't a priority for me. Yeah. I needed to get healthy, and I needed to throw the baseball hard again.
Yeah.
And so instead of signing with the team and being in spring training right now, where not like I don't think I can compete, but I can't compete at the level I want to.
Yeah.
So I am working out at a place called Driveline Baseball, and then another place called Helix. And
Is that here in Arizona?
Yeah,
or
both
Oklahoma? Okay.
both are out here in Arizona.
Cool.
And I am doing every drill, every crazy thing you can imagine.
Back to the bait. Yeah.
Trying to get me to throw hard again, get my body to react.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going really well. It's foreign. I'm doing a lot of things that I've never done before, and it's frustrating, man. I've never not thrown hard. I've never not been able to pick up a baseball and compete the way that I want to. So mentally, it's been extremely tough the last year and a half. For I think most athletes, you define yourself by the sport you play.
Yeah.
Your identity is in the way you play baseball. And so for 6-7 years, I'm on top of the world. I'm on T-shirts. I'm on billboards.
Yeah.
I'm running my own charity events.
Right.
And then, bam, all of a sudden, dude, you're in Jacksonville, Florida, in AAA wearing number 32, and no one even knows where you are.
So what makes you want to keep going? Like, is that the legacy? Like, you want to leave back on top? Do you want to?
It's not even on top.
Because you've had such a successful career. You've made a ton of money. Like, why are you going through all this hard work of retraining yourself and to get 7 miles an hour back?
Yeah, it's a great question. It just, I still have it in me.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you ask that, I'm sitting here trying to find a deeper answer or something that's more motivating, but
there's just more drive. I love it.
I just want to play more, man. Some of this may sound really weird, but right now, like if I was to pitch in a game right now, and you may not personally think this, but based on how you used to see me pitch, I have this like embarrassment of like, man, like Cam isn't getting to see who Archie really is. Or like last year in AAA, all these guys are like, oh, you're Archie, like I know you, and like boom, I'm out there throwing 92, 93, getting my, getting lit up, giving up run after run after run, and like I have this embarrassment or these thoughts of like, man, like I used to be good. And people used to know that, and like it's weird, but like I have this like chip on my shoulder, like it's not even to prove to other people, but like that I still got it.
Yeah.
And then there was a moment this year I pitched against the Braves. I got my ass handed to me. I gave up like 8 or 9 runs, and if that was my last pitch in the big leagues, I'll be just fine. But man, that's not a good one. A good one to end on.
I think it's cool that you're wanting to keep fighting and you're going through all this work, man. What's something that people don't know about the major leagues? That could be like clubhouse talk. That could be like, what's something there, man? I'm totally like catching you by surprise.
No,
with this,
I would say
I always love hearing like the back end. Like, what's the, what do people not know?
I would say, man, the big leagues, it's the greatest thing in the world, man. It's kind of a joking thing, but compared to the minor leagues, man, like in the big leagues, you don't touch your bags. Like you call down, they come get your bags. You take charter buses to and from the field. You charter your own plane. You pull the bus right up to the plane. You walk on the plane. Any snack you could imagine is on the plane. You land. You stay in 5-star hotels. You hit white balls for batting practice.
It's just different.
It's just different, man. And
that's
then,
so cool.
Every day I look up. I look around the stadium. It's like, holy crap, what world am I living in?
Yeah.
Like, and as I've gotten older, as much as I love baseball, I look at it from people are spending the money that they go to work for to come watch me play a game.
I love that.
Like people are choosing to spend their money that they could spend on all types of things to come watch me throw a baseball or to buy my jersey. And so real quickly, man, I felt this responsibility to give back, to sign autographs, to be, for the people.
You feel like baseball players have a little bit more of that attitude because they have to go through so much to get there?
I do. I think
you see some of these NBA players, I'm not calling them out, but even football players, it's like they just walk past all these little kids. And I'm sure it's annoying and it gets frustrating that you can't give everyone an autograph, But I don't know, just what you said there, like I'm going to play and people are spending their money on these tickets. I don't think many NBA players or NFL players think about that. And I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think a lot of it is the struggle and grind we go through. And like you said, I know there's some NBA and NFL guys that are, kind of fringe players that go up and down, but the grind of an MLB season, man, is unlike any other. And so in some ways, man, you take comfort, and it's a relief to be playing so bad or not playing well and still have people that want your autograph, that want to see you play. And you're able to put things in perspective a lot easier.
That's cool. Well, dang, dude, I appreciate you coming up, man. For me, you're not just a baseball player. We met through business, but you've always been a genuine guy. Really cool to me. You're always precious with your time and giving, and I just feel like good vibes from you, man. So
well, I would say the ultimate thing that I love for my baseball journey is here. We're sitting in a helicopter doing a podcast, and one thing I'm most proud of about my journey is how I handled myself.
Yeah.
You know, the way I treated people, the way I treated the community. I kind of said it in a podcast I did earlier with State 48, but you love the Valley and they'll love you back.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't even remember this, but after our photo shoot that we did in Florence that one day, we landed, and you're like, dude, can you take me to the ballpark? And I was like, what? This is so sick. Like, I took Archie to the ballpark, and you're like, go here, go to this guard, go down here, just tell them, just roll down your window, they'll see me, and like, they just let us in. I was like, dang, dude, this life is tight, bro.
It is, man.
I'm with Archie. But anything else you wanna say or talk about before we roll up here, man?
I mean, really, I would just, it's now being back in the Valley. My wife and I are about to move back out here. Just how special Arizona is. It took an 18-year-old kid, turned me into a man. I didn't meet my wife in Arizona, but we started dating in Arizona. Arizona made who Archie Bradley is. It took an 18-year-old kid and has turned me into the man I am today. And I couldn't be more thankful for the people in the state of Arizona for what they've done for my life.
So if there's a little boy that's 12 years old, has your poster on the wall, wants to be a professional athlete, what are you telling them right now, man? They want to be football players, they want to be baseball players, but if they're 12 years old, what do you tell those guys to become a professional athlete?
Right now, what I would tell them, put your phone down and get outside. Find buddies. Play wiffle ball, play as many sports as you can. Don't let any coach tell you that you need to be pigeonholed into just playing baseball. Yeah, man. Okay. I look at my journey and my athleticism, and I played basketball, baseball, football, golf, tennis. I did everything until it got to the point where I needed to start, cutting some out and focusing. But I would tell these little kids, man, don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't just think you have to just play baseball, or if you don't have a hitting coach at age 12 that you're not going to make it to the big leagues, man. I think today's baseball realm has gotten so competitive and so...
Every kid has a private coach, and every kid, is established on their team by 10th grade, 10 years old, 11 years old.
If you're not ranked at 12 years old, you're behind the 8 ball, and I would tell kids, man, just play. Play as much as you can. And if you're at a place where you're not playing, go somewhere where you can play. Like kind of I'm doing right now. Don't let pride get in the way.
Yeah.
Be able to have fun, man. Don't let the stress of competitive baseball, your dad or these coaches get in the way of why you play the game. And it's to have fun. And not everyone is going to make it to the big leagues or even play college ball. So you play to have fun.
How many hours a day did you practice? Like,
all day.
So is that one thing that you would tell people, like, hey, if you're wanting to be big league, like, you can't expect to practice for 30 minutes a day and make it?
Yeah, no, you have to. People talk about it. The sacrifice is real. You have to cut out parties, hangouts, not even cut them out. You just have to look at what you're trying to accomplish. You have to look at, man, should I go to Tommy's house for 3 hours or should I go to the cage for 3 hours?
Yeah.
Well, you can do both. How about you have Tommy come with you?
Yep.
And that's what I felt like helped make work more fun is you do make it fun. You work with friends. You turn hitting into drills or into games, and you fall in love with work. And you fall in love with getting better. Yeah. And I think that's where guys get off is they don't want to put the work in. They just want to kind of post Instagram and post their highlights, and there's just so much more to that.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, man. Yeah. You're the man, bro. Thanks for coming up, dude.